I had three amazing teachers in my early childhood education: my mother, my father, and Mother Nature. I got to play outdoors all day. I mean, literally, we were out from as soon as we got up and went out and played and explored and experimented among the trees, among the birds, the flowers and the bees. And my parents were both art teachers. So there was art books around the house. There was art materials, always accessible, easily accessible for my brothers and my three brothers and myself. So we were allowed to explore and experiment with these art materials, and there was no agenda. We had this freedom. We had this freedom to nurture our own ideas and thoughts and passions through these beautiful art materials, but also outdoors in nature, exploring and experimenting with fallen branches and building gang huts, making things. I've always made things with my hands. I've always been excited and inspired by the natural environment. And I think all children are, but they're just not being given the opportunity to do that. So my early childhood education, I had this freedom to be who I needed to be, to grow into who I needed to be before going off to school. And I think early childhood education doesn't allow for that freedom. I think it's very controlled. That's really where we need to make that shift. My whole being was nurtured when I was young, the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. And I think being outdoors in nature allows for that so much more than being contained within four walls. I think risk-taking is fundamentally important. It's how we learn about ourselves and about our environment around us. Where young children are natural risk-takers. They want to experiment and explore what they can actually do, without knowing the outcome. And so risk-taking is about that. And so it could be as simple as jumping from one rock to another outdoors. It could be constructing something that could be potentially, but they don't know how that's going to work, but we'll just make it work. We'll experiment and explore, and we might not get, like, say, there's tires in the garden and they have planks of wood, and so they're wanting to create a bridge to get over a certain piece of land, and so they construct that. They don't know what the outcome's going to be, but they're going to try it anyway because it's a thrill, it's exciting, and they may fail. And they might fall over and even cut a knee or bruise an arm. But that's all part of life learning, isn't it? And we get up and we try again, and we keep persisting until we actually do it. So it makes us more resilient. It makes us stronger, and it makes us excited to try new things. And life is so challenging, as we have witnessed and experiencing right this moment, that it is very unpredictable. We don't know what is happening right now. In that risk-taking, it makes us more resilient, it makes us stronger, so that we can cope with changes that we're not sure of, and so we can walk into that a little bit more stronger. We don't maybe have an outdoor facility, so how do we take these risks? Well, we can do them and we could use blocks since we didn't have recycled tires or big boulders outside. We can use building blocks in the classroom. Give some space for the children, allow them to experiment and explore and take those risks with the blocks, with some planks of wood. If you don't have it in your classroom, use the gym. If you have a gym in your school, use your gym. Allow them to run a little bit freer, a little bit more space. Hide and seek is another wonderful one, where you're hiding and exploring. You don't know where they're going to be going. A cardboard box, that could be a gang hut, that could be a building. Putting the roof over it, putting some kind of cover over it, that's a risk as well. And what would that be like? How does that feel? And so all these other things, a hammer, you're hammering nails into, or golf tees into pumpkins and wood. And so experimenting, taking risks with tools that they've maybe not been used to. So things like that, give them confidence. It builds on the child's confidence. It makes them stronger. And that's what we need right now, is that strength, that confidence to, I can do this, I can get through this. I'm capable. And I think it is believing in the child's capability. We always say, take care, and that's like, as soon as you say that, you're thinking they're maybe not capable. So it's giving them that trust that I believe that they're capable. relax a little bit more and not take everything so seriously. I think there's just such a seriousness, and we're talking about children, young little minds and hearts and bodies that need to grow, need to be nurtured with love and with tenderness and with appreciation and honor and respect. Through that, the children are being nurtured fully. So that it's the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. It's not just about the mind. It's not just about the body. It's the complete whole child. The emphasis here is on building relationships with each other, building relationships with their environment, and learning about themselves. If we just look at nature in itself, Mother Nature gives us all this beautiful knowledge and wisdom and understanding of how the world works, how math is, symmetry, geometry, it can all be found there in the natural world. And yes, we may not be able to get our children out into these environments in order to experience it firsthand in the natural world. We can bring nature into the classroom. We can bring these experiences and allow the children to touch and feel and explore the leaves that they're counting, the cones, that the shape on the spirals, through the shells and the pine cones and nature.